Aha! Hello and good morning, everybody. I actually don't need to do mouse cam today because it's not that warm yet, so enjoy my face and both of my chins, all three of them even. Ace W? Good morning, Zombie Grub. How you doing?
It could be better.
You're like, that was not the greatest intro of all time, Rifkin. I could definitely be better.
I mean, no, yeah, that plus.
Wow!
I'm still
Talking
sick.
about fucking rude.
You set it up, man. No, I'm still sick, and I had a long day, and I had to say goodbye to my mom, and it's 2 in the morning.
Roller coaster ride of emotions. I understand. They're there. They're there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear you're sick, though. I actually legitimately and genuinely cannot stand being sick, so I feel for you on that one. Not so much the mom part, but the sick part.
Yeah, I'm still getting over it. I'll be okay.
Alright, well, we got a wonderful setup for you guys today. It's Corsair Cup Season 6, a.k.a. we're going to use air quotes here for the off-season, as June we were really restricted by time, amongst many other things, and decided, you know what, rather than rely on open qualifiers and possibly have to cancel move cups like we did last month, let's just invite 8 of the best players who have competed in the Corsair Cup regularly so far, and have 2 groups with them, and put all that prize money. It's the same amount of prize money. The only difference is instead of being paid out week to week, it's all at the very end, and the top 4 players will get paid just like any other cup. So it's a little bit more harsh in that way because some folks won't be able to just sign up and get $10 and be happy with the month. But I think the $700 prize pool certainly makes this a lot more enticing. It's going to be 2 GSL-style groups, all best of 3, leading into a playoffs. So 3 Corsair Cup events this month, but I think the actual games will be a lot more hype because it's not so much like a question of like who's gonna sign up today. No, we know, hey, it's Nerchio, it's KeeN who are gonna be fighting off first, then Snoot and Optimus, and then so forth through the group. But,
Yep.
while we get things sorted with vetoes, and that's what's happening right now, I want to give a big thank you to Dr. Sidewinder, showing off that wonderful looking shirt on the tweeters and 2 decades of Ace Fancy. Ho ho ho! I didn't realize there's a tier 2 sub coming back for 24 months. Thank you very much, dude. And then Brorktas for the Twitch Prime comes back for another round. We thank you as well, kind sir. Warf_PL as well, timing that out nicely. 13 months to say hi. Europeans sure are friendly. They just say hello and hi and howdy and dandy and why is Amazon calling me? 12 minutes ago, fuck. Hold up, guys. This is actually an important order, I think. Let me look into this real quick. Excuse me. That's all you have me to myself.
Oh, okay. All right, well, he does that. We are just waiting for KeeN and Nerchio to finish up the vetoes. They're so close to being done. They're both taking like 2 minutes each to veto a map. That's going to be complicated. I can hear him. But yeah, so close. Just come on. Come on, KeeN. Anyways, they're all going to be best of 3. And like you said, group stage. So we actually know who's playing. And not quite the specific order, but close to it. Hello. All right, vetoes are done.
Hello, I'm
order.
back.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry about that because I didn't know if they knew my address or not. So what's kind of frustrating is this new place is so nice, and it's finally in Google Maps, which is good. Pizza now delivers here, which is nice. But even though there's a big fucking sign on the front door that says please leave packages with a concierge, Amazon and I think it's UPS specifically will never do that. They call you and they insist on like you coming down to pick it up. They can't just leave it at a door. I'm like, I know, that's why it says leave it with the fucking concierge. Jesus. Sorry, deep breaths.
They're there?
It's like
I still don't even know how to get stuff to this apartment, so pretty sure they just chuck it in the front of the building and be like, see ya, white person.
I would just be like so much more angry or less angry if I was somebody who orders stuff on Amazon like once a month. I order stuff on Amazon like twice a week. So it's just like really infuriating where it's like by now it's got to be the same delivery people. Like just statistically speaking, there's not enough variety in the workforce, I feel, for there to be like 78 different people who have delivered 78 different packages since I moved in. One of them's got a clue and be like, oh, the concierge. That's the guy behind the desk that I'm looking at through this glass fucking lobby. Sorry. Rant over. Anyways, we got great stuff coming up here at the Corsair Cup. First game of the day is going to be Nerchio versus KeeN. And looks like we've got at least the first map figured out here with Defender's Landing.
One of those rare times where they both seem to be online and paying attention, yet still taking forever.
Yeah, I feel like what happens with players, and this is a guess, is they'll do their part and then tab out. And just be like, all right, I'm doing other things for a moment or two, right? But because they're tapped out, they don't realize the other person responded like immediately. So we get this awkward like, where did they go?
Yeah, I mean that's probably what happens. It's a good guess. KeeN's literally just, oh my god, just join the lobby and give me a second map. It's fine. It's alright. Second map, KeeN. And then sometimes they complain about being babied through the process. Like,
So I know how vetoes work, Samigo. And they're like, I know that you know how vetoes work, but you don't seem to realize how staying around and paying attention does. So excuse me.
That's a good response. So I'll say next time. Alright, so we finally have the map order. And everyone is in here, including Emil. Good thing he joined, because I kind of forgot about him.
I invited him. Jess Young Kappa says, by the way, BaseTradeTV, it's really useful that you put the time of the next broadcast in the Vodcast. Keep doing that. And yes, I know about TL, but it still helps. I'm glad to see that it is. It's really hard to find that middle ground that people enjoy. And I think we're getting closer to it with vodcasting. I know some people here do not prefer or even care for it, but we've actually gotten a lot of tweets and feedback and direct messages saying like that people really appreciate the vodcast because they can't catch it live, etc., etc. So we definitely want to keep vodcasting, but we don't want to be... The problem with vodcasting is like I can feel like it can be really misleading in a lot of ways. I'm good whenever they are, by the way. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Because, again, we had a big talk about this on stream the other day, but there's a lot of issues with vodcasting. We're aware of them, and we're trying to make sure we work around them best for our viewers. Because ultimately, the whole point of a vodcast, if I could share revenue numbers with you guys and not get in trouble, I would. But when I tell you, like, a full day, like 24 hours of vodcasting, that's less than like $10, you can believe that I'm being accurate with that number. So I do not put the, I guess, value of our viewership in deceiving our fans at a number less than $10.
I mean, that it is money.
It is. That's true. And you know, we split that in half, so it's not even. It's like, hey, $7? No. It's like $3.50. Yeah, and then tax is more like $2 each. Fuck.
Yeah. Good deal. You should do that. Sounds worth.
Sounds like a good business practice. Good business model at that. But all right, folks, it's the Corsair Cup. This is Season 6, a.k.a. the off-season here for June. Kicking it off here in the bottom left, he's played in many Corsair Cups, and I think he's been to almost every Corsair Cup season finals. It is none other than the Korean, the away team, KeeN.
That's a bold statement. Well, in the top right, there's the red Zerg. He is Nerchio.
Yeah, him and Alive haven't won, I don't think any of the Corsair Cups, but I believe they've both attended 4 out of 5, if not 5 out of 5 each. I think the only other person who's up with that is like either Nerchio or Showtime. I'd have to go look at the stats and look, but I always find it interesting, the vigilance of KeeN. Constantly coming to the European server. I mean, regularly playing at hours that are ungodly for Koreans. Like, what? You're in Korea right now. What time is it?
It's 2 a.m.
Hype. Good time to start a possibly 4-hour tournament.
Yeah, and then for the other 6 months of the year, it starts at 3 a.m. So feels good. Feels like gamer lifestyle. But yeah, these guys do it. KeeN, Alive. I forget if Gumiho does it that often.
Gumiho does not. Not for stuff we've seen, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys.
Well, a couple things to note. First off, Nerchio, we're talking a lot about KeeN. Obviously, the hometown hero on this one, coming from Poland, representing Europe here for the European Corsair Cup. However, all of that aside, KeeN's gotten a pretty nice scout and seeing a Roach Warren coming out very quick. Now, this isn't like bust your Roach Warren. This isn't like the first 3 Ravagers of the game that you start building 7 bunkers for. But it is worth noting that this isn't Nerchio playing greedy, so KeeN has to be on his toes. And the constant scouting of this SCV is actually really, really nice. In fact, if it sees these 3 Roaches being made now, he might just throw in a bunker immediately.
Yeah, I think he has an idea of what's going on. Just leaves. And there's the bunker. So, good call.
The 3 or whatever roaches Nerchio makes that are gonna probably be Ravagers here in a moment, though. Again, like I don't feel like this is gonna be the all-in version of this, but what I enjoy is like 3 Ravagers can put a lot of pressure on. It can force SCVs to pull off of mining to sit there repairing a bunker, losing a lot of income that way. Like these can get their value, but this does cost Nerchio a bit to cut and get these this early on. So right now he's droning up to make up for that.
Yeah, always kind of questionable to see this. Defender's Landing can be a very aggressive map, and actually I feel it's like scarier for the Terran with all these early options that Zerg does have, like early Lings, early Speedlings, Flood, and early Roaches. But sometimes like this is so predictable that an SCV scout can solve all your problems, so you see more SCV scouts on this map, and then an SCV scout's like the strongest way to react to either version of this, whether it's the one base or like expansion build. So I just feel like it's you know, it's risky. I mean, it's inherently risky. It's a bit cheesy, right? But it's even riskier to do it on a map like this, and there wasn't really a lot of benefit for Nerchio in that. Actually, none at all.
No, but I think because you gotta consider Nerchio also didn't scout, right? That was all KeeN who did the scouting. Blindly doing this into a Terran player on this map of all maps, I think is not actually a bad gamble to take. Like, no, it didn't pay off here, but most of the time, I imagine it probably does.
Well, it really sucks that there actually wasn't even like time that KeeN was scared. I mean, he literally built a bunker, and that's kind of the damage you did, but it just isn't worth it because of course the bunker will be salvaged.
Well, you know, even in the super all-in version of this, you'll hear a lot of pros talk about like the best way to shut it down is just to actually scout it and see it coming. So, while this wasn't like the really all-in version, it was still that same logic where like, yeah, KeeN scouted this very quickly, and you knew Nerchio, like. KeeN didn't know this, but we knew Nerchio wasn't going to be dedicated to this because after the first 3 roaches came out, it was immediately into drones. So, not the most insane opening of all time out of either of them, but I'm now really worried for Nerchio moving forward. He's got a Spire on the way, and that's really cool, but he's going to be limited to like, what, 8-10 mutas at most? And KeeN, as small as the muta count may be, there's actually not going to be that much anti-air. It's a handful of Marines that are not going to be upgraded with a Banshee with Cloak and a tank and a Cyclone.
Yeah.
Excuse me, 2 Cyclones. So still no damage.
Well, KeeN is thinking all about that anti-ground. You know, Roaches. Nerchio, after all, is a Roach player. So you see Roach in the beginning, that makes sense. Then see Roach in the mid-game, that makes even more sense. So the Spire is definitely going to be tricky. With the third command, and there's not a lot of barracks production, or not as quickly as there could have been. And even then, honestly, like that still wouldn't be a lot of Marines to move around. But this Banshee will see with the first indicator, and then that just means missile turrets, Marines at home, and that's, I mean, he's not going to get like blindsided completely by the Spire, and that was, I think, the greatest potential problem.
I don't know how you're feeling about this. I'm still kind of recovering from the Banshee use versus Neeb, and or was it Hurricane? We cast that over the weekend just yesterday, but it was like the most disgusting use of Banshees that should never work, but did.
Oh, that was against Neeb. It was that was a Liberator that made him instantly tap out. Then I might have been against Hurricane. Yeah, that was Jakshi versus Hurricane, I think. Jakshi was actually kind of on a roll. I really didn't expect him to get first place, but he got it, and even made it look a bit easy.
I'm super silly. I forgot we double stacked over the weekend. That was Bien and Hero is what it was. We're talking about Hero, like build a cannon, man. Like you've lost 30 probes, just build a cannon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was the absurd amount of, well, that was a mistake. That was the absurd amount of Banshees. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was thinking of like how easy I think the Terrans made that group look. Well, the Terran Jakshi made that group look. But anyways, that's in the past. The Muta's not doing so great. Really, just the fact that they were scouted a little bit earlier than probably what Nerchio wanted, and then just got accidentally mismicroed. Nerchio's not having the greatest game.
No, and you know what? The Banshees are actually getting damage done. Nerchio's been pulling left and right, assuming Spore Crawlers recover this, but this one Banshee's up to 10 kills. Granted, some of those are Lings, but 7 drones is not bad either.
Well, third CC, unfortunately, is secured pretty easily. It's one thing the Mutas can kind of hold off on if they're, well, in a little bit higher number, first of all, but just also not as or a bit more of a surprise. I'm surprised KeeN, speaking of surprises, is moving out this quickly, right before the medevac usually does have like a pretty powerful timing, but more so against Protoss.
And those all his mules, too, just got pulled off the mineral line, almost died. Timing
Yeah,
for this
that's
is,
pretty
yeah, certainly awkward without the medevac support. But Stim, 2 tanks, a Cyclone. He's got the anti-roach forces, that's for sure.
Yeah, he apparently doesn't really need medevacs. I mean, they have the
Baxter.
combat shield to be extra better, and I don't even know about sieging the tanks, honestly, but he's going to be trading effectively. KeeN just catching Nerchio when Nerchio didn't expect it. You know, his Muto's supposed to be able to buy a little bit more time, and then they're also supposed to scout when the medevacs pop out, which is usually the indicator of a push.
So he will end up holding this, by the way, albeit barely, but man, that was messy. Had the Mutas been home, oh god, only 2 of them made it back. But had the Mutas been at home, actually, you consider how close that was with the fight anyways, I think Nerchio would have, like, steamrolled through KeeN, especially because of what you pointed out, like, no medevacs, but the opportunity was there and he snatched it. He also, I guess, killed enough Mutas that he's comfortable just sending this medevac out. You know your opponent's probably not going to be investing in a lot more when you see Roaches and Ravagers be the key part of the army, so this is risky, but it's a gamble that he's willing to take. 4 Widow Mines unloaded can cause a serious amount of damage because we're getting to that point where mineral patches are mining out and drones are stacking up.
KeeN, like, really took a big risk by doing that. Not just in losing the army unfairly, of course, which he actually took an okay trade, but also that, like, Nerchio could have countered and maybe done some damage. So, of course, he sets up his bunkers.
Okay.
This will be nice enough.
Yeah, he saw this coming. The splits are good. The medevac goes down. That's devastating.
Okay.
I like that little attempt to focus fire on the stacked drones, but yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so KeeN doesn't get that much from it, but it was still good damage.
Yeah, he also got, of course, the Hive, which is going to usually lead into the Ultra's Cavern, and it is. Nerchio on his way to a 4th base, but KeeN, despite that one little pull on the mules, really is at a consistent economy, and I mean, that little blip in his production that led to him having to build bunkers, feeling a little bit scared, that's kind of over and done with. All of his add-ons are on. He had 3 extra barracks just made. His upgrades aren't going to be hitting anything close to a timing here, but his army is really good, like enough to maybe steamroll Nerchio through before he can get Ultras out, which is the whole goal.
Oh, rocks me down are going to help these tanks out in such a big way.
That's pretty cool.
Investors are going to be a little bit scary, but it takes out the tanks with the Corsair Battle, so never mind. Tanks, not a problem.
Yeah,
Nerchio goes out some infested Terrans.
Ooh, this was not how that was supposed to go. The tanks a little bit spread apart, and that actually is a lot better, but I don't even know if it's about tanks. Usually it is for like the early to mid game versus Roaches, but they were never very plentiful enough to actually be that scary. I think it's a lot more about how just big the bio is. KeeN still has about 40 army supply lead, 30 army supply lead. Now just has to worry about fungals, but I think he knows they're depleted now. In fact, he's scanning the infestors, so he doesn't even have to split.
Man, picks him off too. Marauders just squish him down. Jones getting pulled is not a good sign. It's not the biggest army you've ever seen, but it's big enough. And Nerchio is absolutely dying to the Marauder fire.
Yeah. This looks like it's going to be game. Even with the Ultras on the way, they still have a little bit of time in the chitinous plating, and there's a lot of bio here. There won't be any buffer for the Ultras, not even speedlings to help get us around. But it makes a lot of sense. While Nerchio took maybe a better fight against those tanks than I expected, overall, this game has not been good for him. Like, it started badly from the beginning.
No kindness platings. Tough to fight with. GG. KeeN takes game number 1. But yeah, I agree. Like, the 3 Roach thing was a gamble that did not pay off in this game, and I think, you're kind of going to be hurting from that, and that's going to echo through the rest of your gameplay. That being said, Nerchio still got to Hive tag without being, like, punished. I think a lot of the times you'll see the Zerg players, like, it's that transition to Hive. That's the weak spot. He died afterwards.
Well, the next map's going to be Abyssal. I don't know, I guess Nerchio could still go for the early Roaches, but I think it's KeeN going to be scouting, feeling quite confident. Why not?
By the way, we got a couple of subs during that game, and right there at the very end. Thank you to SXWX88 for the Prime sub, or Swix88. Posezid as well for the Twitch Prime sub. I guess. I didn't think that. You know, that makes a lot of sense after you realize what it is.
Yeah, of course.
And then Nervoth as well. Thank you for the 5 months. I refuse to read that message, however. Thank you for the 5 months. Let's hop into a Bizzle Reef. Also, for those who have not been keeping track of the, I don't know, the macro schedule of BaseTradeTV, if you will, we are coming very close to the whole go into Toronto thing. Oh, I just realized, why is Mancherino still showing the bar thing? 1 second.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be there. Just the bit boss for OFU. Anyways, yeah, this is going to be one of our 2 last casts before we leave to Toronto for the Game Land North by Northeast Invitational. It's going to be a lot of good times. So it's today, then later tonight, I guess you could technically classify it, the Alima League. And then Zombie Grub flies the day out before me. I fly out on the 15th. And we're going to be in Toronto for the weekend. So if you guys are tuning in from the Toronto area, be sure to come out for the Game Land Invitational. Should be some pretty good times.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I may be a little bit bored on Wednesday, but I'll just sleep. You know, easy fix.
It's not going to be a bad thing, especially if you're not feeling 100%. But all right, folks, spawning here in the bottom right, he's up 1 game at the moment. We do have the yellow Terran player, KeeN.
In the top left, as the red Zerg, it is Nerchio.
You know, it's a little bit weird to see Nerchio lose that game. And part of me doesn't want to believe it's entirely because of the opening. However, like, Nerchio is just, in my opinion, favored in this matchup, generally speaking. We've seen him, of course, take on some of the best Terran players there have been in Korea. We had a whole show match, him versus Beyond, where he wrecked Beyond. And not a whole hell of a lot has changed in terms of balance since then. Like, there's been some tweaks. We've seen advantages go to the Thors. We've seen increase to the Hydralisk health. But that game out of KeeN was also just a pretty solid follow-through, regardless of what Nerchio did or did not do correctly.
Yeah, I mean, Nerchio is pretty pro at the style he uses. He has, I don't know, perfected it to the most that we've seen anyways. Yeah, I know some Korean Zergs actually use a very similar style, like Bjol occasionally throws it out too, but honestly, the Europeans seem to have this really figured out more than others. It feels so odd, just you're not getting nearly as many European tournaments as we are Korean ones, but anyways... So he knows like when he can get away with not droning and all that, and when he can kind of fit in the Ultralisk cabin. I think last game he was probably, I mean, not happy about the opener, but I think he was, you know, trying to accommodate for it, plus the map. And KeeN's little like push with his tanks probably just screwed it all up, man. Like the one that took out his army.
Also, a quick note, I don't believe he's tuning in right now, but OFU, we mentioned as the bit boss moments ago. I forgot, we didn't even catch this on the day of. He threw $170 towards the mega tournament fundraiser while we were having that crazy show match yesterday. Ooh. So, well, he might not be here. I hope someone can clip this and send it to him. We really do appreciate it, man. Thank you for all that support. You are a hero. Well, no, there's like 4 heroes in StarCraft, so we need another word for you. A glorious warrior of StarCraft righteousness.
There's 2 heroes in StarCraft 2, and honestly, nowadays, only the people really care about 1.
Apparently, there's 3. Okay, so you guys don't know this. I went through this huge, like, midlife crisis trying to tag hero on Team Liquid the other night. And, like, there's apparently a Zerg one I didn't know about.
So that's Brood War, which is what I was going to get into.
Okay, well, I was going to say, like, I tagged hero, and then not hero, and then Zerg hero, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'm done with this. You guys know it's Root Gaming's hero. Yeah,
and then someone, I think hero used to be on the clan join, so he's that guy. But then the Zerg guy, he's part of some other clan too, so like I have no idea. Yeah, it can be confusing. It's such a flop, man. Not a flip flop, a flip without the flop, whatever.
Flip that, to the flop hero, to the hippie hop.
That CJ Antis is now the hero that everyone knows, and poor Team Liquid hero is just getting. Well,
so I wonder something about this wall, by the way. Not that I think we would have seen him dive for it, but if you remember back in the day, there was a bridgehead. We discovered there's that Reaper trick you could hop over the rocks. I wonder if you could do that with a Hellion properly lined up here too.
I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure Reaper can hop over the Evolution Chamber Roach middle.
Yeah,
right over I'm pretty sure because like they literally jumped over rocks. Like, these weren't, like, double-stacked rocks or something huge, but they were rocks, okay? And they jump over that in Bridgehead, so... And I know that can work. They can jump over supply depots, too, which is why I have to be careful when defending against Reaper proxies. But, It's not worth it anymore.
Man, that
Plus,
difference
this
in...
is... Go ahead.
I was gonna say the difference in auto turret damage right there was so noticeable. Old auto turrets would have killed like 3 or 4 drones before Nerchio even looked to pull. New auto turret barely kills 1, and that's after Nerchio goes back to mining too early.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty big difference. I was going to say, really the scouting you need for Zerg is kind of like, well, you saw the Roachborn, that's what told you they had a wall in the first place, and then the third base, you know. And then, if you really want to be thorough, are they joining the third base? Which they most likely are. Yeah. I feel like the 2-base, like, kind of fake third, if you will, kind of builds are most reserved for the versus Protosses, but, yeah. Confirming, of course, that it's Roaches too, if that was, like, any guess, I guess. You know, with the Roach speed now in the way, the Roachborn wiggling and jiggling, and Banshee. Gonna provide not just some offense and harassment, but also security in case there was some type of aggressive move with Roaches, trying to take advantage of a Hellion opener. Banshee kind of shuts that down.
This Roachborn, funny enough, ends up helping a bit here. I mean, it doesn't stop them from reaching to get kills, but I guess you can't really have Lings run into this. It's a bit of safety to run against it, because even if Roaches are here, they can't chase you back.
Yeah.
This weird wall of, like kind of... I don't know what to make of this for Nerchio. I mean, I love the idea of it, you know? Stopping round buys or units from getting through easily. But I also feel like later on in the game, this is such a vulnerability.
I guess so. You know, if they're reaching your natural, then I think you're already in trouble. But, to see your point.
Uh-oh. Double trouble heading towards the natural.
Spurclaw covers the mineral line pretty well, though.
Yeah, but 2 Banshees, that's a one-shot kill. The presence alone is enough to scare Nerchio away.
Yeah, funnily enough. This is an attempted distraction tactic, but the Overlord's like right over the Hellions, so...
This would actually be great. If Nerchio was paying attention up here and he just ran in with the Hellions, he would fry up so many drones, but he's going to pull back, and he plays really, really safe with the Banshees.
Yeah. Very conservative. So back on the other side, like KeeN is getting a third base, tanks, medevacs, 1-1, all that jazz. And Nerchio, well, he is getting infestors and on his way to Hive, only off the back of a single upgrade. I mean, he's playing pretty greedy, but he feels he can get away with it, which he probably can. The first 2 drops, not even a full 60 Marines, is not that scary. Even if there was Hellbats, Roach do well against those.
It finally gets on top of the Hellions too. I love that Nerchio removes this from the equation. Like, there was no necessity to reach out and kill these. But the constant threat of them being down there meant he could never leave that base alone.
Well, here's what you were talking about.
Yeah. The +2 gets picked off. The Roachborn goes down. I mean, like, you don't need siege tanks set up in a funky position to make this happen. This is Nerchio presenting it on the front lines.
Yeah, I also think it's really odd. Like, Nerchio has creep spread between his bases, which is all well and good, but severely lacking creep spread against a Terran player in ZvT in general. Like, not too far forward from his 4th base, and not at all past that natural. Like, that's a little weird. That's almost like ZVZ creep spread, you know? Like, you just, like, habit occasionally.
So some points to make for it, though, is, I mean, he did know that there were Hellions and a Reaper nearby. It may not have actually been worth putting the effort to spread it, knowing it would get cleaned up pretty much the second it moved outside the base. Save that energy for later. Transfuses. I mean, I'm not saying that it's good. I'm just trying to justify, like, there are reasons that make sense why you wouldn't have crazy creep spread.
I mean, the biggest deal, like, you're right about the harassment, is that Hellions are usually not, like, the creep killers they were back at, like, Wings of Liberty. I think it, you know, was something to do with maybe the Banshees. The combination of the two. Those Queens were always running around. Maybe some transfuses went down.
I was playing 2v2s over the weekend with random people, and I was doing that trick where you attack the rocks to kill the tumor because you don't want to scan for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel so cool right now. I feel like this must be what the Koreans feel like all the time. It's like one dumb little trick like that.
Yeah. Like when I figured out that if you swap the reactor on a starport, you get medvacs faster. You feel pretty gosu. It's pretty cool.
That kind of brings me back to all the people who don't realize you can steal other people's add-ons. Never played StarCraft 1, I guess.
Yeah.
I
mean, I didn't do that. Yeah, I guess the campaign you would do that a lot. Huh.
Well, the campaign, it was like one of the missions straight up. You gotta like take the tech labs. Okay, so that was a pretty big freaking deal. That's no small loss there. How many does he have left over now? 1. He has 1 single medevac. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, that was a huge mistake, which Nerchio just pounced upon.
This timing is really going to screw with KeeN, too. I mean, I love the tanks. Liberator support's even better. But I feel like without any Marauders whatsoever, taking on these Ultralists seems like far too big of a task. And I mean, Nerchio is somebody who does like to get his Hive, 9 minutes faster than average, but KeeN, I don't know. He doesn't feel ready for this.
No. That was a pretty nice lane counterattack too. Like those weren't very well upgraded, but the fact they took out bio and any tanks whatsoever, I think is pretty worth.
Yeah.
KeeN is on a 4th base, so I think you're right. Like he might just be swarmed by the ultras, but there is some preparation for the later stage of the game.
Oh,
the tanks actually provide a wall here, so getting extra shots in, but still not a lot.
Yeah, the ultras to buy some time for the bio to escape. I mean, there was only +1 Carapace plus Chitinous going into this. I mean, again, Nerchio rushes this hive. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Plus, he lost the Evolution Chamber earlier that screwed with his timings. But that being said, it's more than enough. If the bio walks through it by mistake, oh no.
Okay, that sucks. Because
Okay.
they actually had a lot of room to try and maneuver here. Supply depot wall over there, planetary over there.
I'm a Marine in this army, and you get ordered to move command into giant monsters. There's no not asking why.
Oh.
You just don't listen to your commanding officer at that point.
All right. But this is like, again, like
Sim
losing
City.
17 Marines or whatever was pretty bad, but he had such a good setup against what he figured was probably going to be an overwhelming amount of ultras.
Yeah, Nerchio throws his whole army into a literal wall. The Lings run in from the backside, and I love the idea of trying to get a counterattack, but the Planetary may have even surprised him because he lost all of his Lings to that side too. So 7 more ultras are on the way. He's got a hell of a lot of bases. Maybe he can make up those losses, but Nerchio went from being like really, really ahead in army supply to barely matching KeeN.
Yeah, and KeeN like not only has a planetary, which is already like a little bit different than some of the Terrans who just all in off of 3 bases. He already had a 5th base, as his planetary was like building, I think. So while Nerchio, usually this is like a really good sign, like I didn't die for my ultras and I have bases, I didn't lose like 5 bases to drops. It is being matched by a defensive Terran, and when defensive Terrans play defensive well, like they are very hard to break. This not being a highlight of that. Well, actually, a tank of that, like tanks on the high ground, is adding a lot more than I thought they would.
Nerchio's also thrown away a lot of ultras to not get much for this. I feel like killing things
Yeah.
is good, but losing this many ultras is not.
I don't think he realized that there were 3/4 tanks on the high ground. He didn't have anything to scout there, right?
Yeah, and, part of this comes down to he's not bringing overseers with the army, no high ground
Yeah.
vision, and it's not necessary because there's not been a lot of Widow Mines in play, but that's one of those times where, yeah, just the air vision alone makes that unit worthwhile.
Yeah, that's well, that's not exactly what I meant, but it's the same results, you know. Tanks on the high ground, a bit of kiting from the bio, and Nerchio just throws away a large portion of his army. Now he's still rolling in the dough here. He's got another base set up, and he has been winning the income advantage for like most of this game, but you know, more Liberators on the way. They're gonna get their upgrades. I assume Ghosts at some point. But right now, KeeN focusing more Liberators.
I think if this gets really out of hand with Broodlords, I think Ghosts are going to be the better option because Vikings will be a little bit difficult to swap to. But right now, I actually really like the current composition with Liberator range being kept in mind to deal with the Ultras.
Yeah, it's like I'm a little worried though because Nerchio's are in his way to Greater Spire. I mean, he actually has already thrown away 2 ultra armies, so this really isn't that quick of a Broodlord transition.
He's getting air weapon upgrades, and he's got a fusion core. I can think of another counter to the Broodlords and Ultras.
Medivacs?
In what way would Medivacs benefit from ship upgrades? I mean, come on. I was fully aware there was a troll response coming, and I stayed silent to see what creative weapon you'd choose. But Medivacs...
I couldn't say the Raven either, right?
On the wall, there's 3 weapons in front of you. There's a crossbow, a sword, and a dildo. And you reached for the dildo.
Yeah, well, that could do a lot of damage. All right, what if you just like start waving around saying that it's you, like throw it at him and say it's used, like that'd get him to run away.
All right, well we got Widow Mines, Jelly Class, as well as Ghost. I can't. Nope. I think he'll be okay to hold off the first wave of attacks. But yeah, as the game progresses further and further, the Ghosts are more and more important. Snipes are just so good at removing anything from the equation. But in this case, Broodlords would be the opportune thing to look for.
Yeah, Drilling Claws is a cool thing to see as an add-on. I mean, KeeN is really setting up for the late game, but I fear he might have been a little late to the air late game. And this wasn't the best attack, or defense rather, for KeeN. Lots of his army not siege and away from each other, and that was pretty awkward.
That's a lot of infested Terrans coming down for the Liberators, but they get taken out pretty quickly. Corruptors will actually take care of most of the Liberators, so a handful of Bio tries to kite, but it's not going to be enough. And Nerchio threw so much into this, and he still has a bank behind it. I think KeeN's just in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. His army really needs to be together. I mean, it's one thing to have like a portion of your army out there and about, right? But he had tanks on siege, chasing after the Bio army that was way too far forward, as well as any medevacs he lost trying to drop, and that just means it's kind of it.
You know what KeeN needed? The new and improved Thors.
A dildo?
You ever play Saints Row the Third?
No.
You could actually get like a giant dildo baseball bat as a weapon.
Oh, I bet. Well, unfortunately, he doesn't have one. So.
This is where I really like the idea of swapping to the Widow Mines, by the way. Corruptors are impossibly annoying units to deal with. I don't think there's any situation a Terran player says, oh boy, 12 Corruptors, can't wait to fight those. But Widow Mines will catch these things really badly. However, not quite getting it here. Nerchio's starting to dive in a bit deep, but KeeN's still on half the army supply. He lost the planetary. GG.
All in a flash. It's all gone.
That was a cool game for Nerchio for a couple of different reasons, but number one, I like that there was the direction of Bird Lords possibly coming into play. That's more of a Snoot way to handle things, I feel, which is funny because I know Snoot thinks Nerchio is the better player most of the time. I don't know. But we are going to go to a small commercial break as we get into game number 3, so things are tied up for this first match of the day. Stick around, guys. We'll see you soon with more. Alright, folks, we're back and hopping directly into the game so you don't miss any of the action. It is, as we said, map 3 coming up for this first preliminary match of the group. Things are tied up now 1-1. There's nothing really truly at stake just yet because it is the difference of simply going to the winner's match versus the loser's match. And the next matchup is going to be Snoot versus Optimus. So it's all Terran, all Zerg today. I don't know. Make your call real quick here, Zomgrib. What do you think? ZvZ and TvT for winners and losers? Or do you think it's going to be still ZvT and ZvT?
TVZ.
Okay. I am actually hoping it'll be TVZ the whole group through. But I think ZvZ and TvT would be an interesting thing to see.
Sure. I like it when you mix them together, you know? Like, you can't just have one ingredient with another ingredient. You don't just put ketchup on ketchup. You get some egg mass.
Put a hat on a hat. The camera angel is intentional, guys. You ever see angels in the outfield? I got that going on with my webcam right now.
Just punning it up, man. You guys didn't hear my awesome pun during the break either.
No, they didn't, and they shan't. Ladies and gentlemen, it's game 3. I'm going to cut her off real quick as we get into the lower right with the blue Zerg Nerchio.
And top left is the yellow Terran. It is KeeN.
Do my best to like joke blue ball you here.
That's fine. I prefer when they just keep, you know, wondering what we were talking about during the break.
That's I feel like sometimes Terminator Patreon fees to hear us during the breaks.
There you go. Sometimes, if there's some conversations we have during the breaks that if you guys actually accurately guess what we were talking about, I would give you like $50.
But there'd be no content. We just get back giggling. They're like, I don't know, you know what we're talking about.
Exactly, which is why, like, you know, the guessing would just have to be so extreme. The more extreme, the more right it could be. We talked about some really weird shit.
Yeah, that's actually very true. By the way, on the topic of jokes, as things move out, did you see the Redditor who had Tourette's that was doing stand-up comedy?
No, I didn't click on it.
It was kind of annoying to listen to, but he had this one amazing joke I gotta share really quick. And it's just like a one-liner, right? And I'm gonna mess this up, of course. But he said, you know, people know that if you cut a head off a chicken, it can run around for several hours without a head on its body. However, if you cut off its feet, it can't. I know it's not like objectively the funniest joke of all time, but I love that so much. So it's like I watched it this morning. It was so good. Had on my to-do list.
Did you know that there was a chicken that lived without its head for like years?
Actually, I do remember reading something about that. I don't know the story behind it.
It was in a Ask Reddit thread that's like what sounds not true, but
yeah.
It was like a Canadian chicken too, man. I hope you're proud.
I don't think it was years. Wasn't it months?
was like a year or two. Just, you know, generous years, but still.
That'd be so... I don't even know how that would work, to be honest. I guess at the same time, you could have like comatose patients, right, who are brain dead, but their body still functions.
Yeah. Well, apparently they chopped off not all of its brain.
Oh, okay. Because I was just thinking like this is something
like a
where
stem or something. I mean, it's still pretty weird, and apparently it could still be fed, but only through like an eyedropper. Like I don't know how that works, but it did. Well, enough about chickens.
Yeah. Nerchio, of course, is going to feel the wrath of banshees once again. Not before he deals a little bit of damage with the slings. Nah, hell, let's just get that off. The Banshees really haven't been enough for me to be like, wow, I'm so glad KeeN's doing Banshees. This is impressive new meta play. But it does seem to consistently get something done, whether it's a couple of drones or whether it's a lot of drones. I mean, it's unstoppable damage to a degree. It's just how much damage does it get away with.
I mean, I feel like against a known Roach player, not just known, but like that's literally what he does 9% of the time.
It's like well known, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Banshee add-on, I'll call it, because Hellion openers are more popular now than they ever were in Legacy of the Void. So you see them, I think, more often than you see the Barracks openers nowadays. So then add on top of that a Banshee might just specifically be for a Roach player, because it gives you that offense and that defense in case they do want to mix things up and not just go for a macro game, which I think if you're playing against Snoot, you can think Roach macro every single game for the most part. But against Nerchio, he actually mixes it up a little bit more with some aggressive pushes and opportune moments.
Also consistently through the games today, too, faster hive tech, which is something KeeN has to be thinking of for sure.
I mean...
Ooh, he drives the roaches back. There's not drones here to really pick off, though.
Yeah, I mean, he even, like, saves one. The building cancel.
He realized at the last second he could have saved both, too. Just came down a bit late. Okay, so this was annoying for Nerchio, but nothing really damaging. Second Banshee was heading towards the main, but turns around already?
Ooh. You almost got me. Thank you to Prince of Persia. Switch Prime sub. Well, you read that, I think of Prince of Persia.
Now we're talking about that amazing 10 out of 10 movie with Jake Gyllenhaal? Or the old game from like
Isn't
the
it
90s?
Gyllenhaal, not Gyllenhaal? Which one is it, man?
Are you jiffing me right now? I'm pretty sure it's Gyllenhaal.
I feel like I've always heard of Gyllenhaal. Oh, I'm gonna look this up. But no, I'm talking about the game that was amazing. Most of the games were good, but the Prince of Persia Sand of Time was super good.
Actually, I was gonna say I was thinking about the old school, like the Pixel one, but you're right. The one that came out with for GameCube / was that Xbox or whatever? PS2. It was so good. I actually enjoyed the crap out of that game, and the story was great too. Oh my god.
Yeah, I actually was looking through, like, I guess, like, PSN or something like that, right? And I saw it, and I was like, these are not the graphics I remember.
They,
I hadn't seen the game in so long.
The last one that came out, Warrior Within or something, I was, like, not a fan of. But all the Prince of Persia games other than that were actually pretty fantastic and very fun.
Yeah, they were all pretty solid.
But, yo, we have some legitimacy coming out of this game with some Thors on the way. And I didn't even realize 3 factories out of KeeN. So this isn't like a question. I just kept looking at the Hellions. I'm like, he's really dedicated to the Hellions, huh? But he's just straight up going mech this game.
Cool stuff.
This
Thors
is, by the way,
can be pretty good.
Yeah, and they're paired up with 2 medevacs. I think he's going to try and drop them, a la Bjorn style, which would be really cool to see, of course. But for those who don't know, it is worth noting. Not going to be such a big deal versus the Roaches, perhaps, but Thors do have an extra base armor now, so things like drones can't be pulled against them. Queens, as we saw, did jack squat for damage, and of course legs aren't gonna do much either. In fact, there was an instance, I don't remember if it was Bjorn or who it was, but like it was so notable that like the Thor's armor was the difference of it living versus having half health.
I don't remember what that was, but I think this is like one of the first indications.
He is gonna master pair it too. Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, first indication of the fact that it was mech, because otherwise Nerchio didn't really get a lot of scouting.
No, and while this goes on, he's so distracted with a Thor on the front line, he doesn't even pull the drones to this base. The Roaches come back home a bit late, but there's not really anything to save here. Just the poor dead queen who lost all her children. 21 workers on that run by. That was fantastic.
Yeah. But apparently, as soon as Nerchio figured out it was mech, because I'm pretty sure he only realized when the two Thors were dropped. Swarm hosts. Not going to be an answer. And Neuroparasite.
Yes. So this is where the game gets really interesting. You've heard it before if you follow any of the pros who play mech. They all hate Swarm hosts. They think it's broken and there's no way really to deal with it. So this is not going to be fun. However, Blue Flame plus the armored Thors can tank and clean up those locusts pretty quickly. However, neither of those are options at home. Thors are across the map. Blue Flame's not researched. Locusts are going to destroy the tanks, and the roaches just walk on into the natural.
Well, these Thors could actually totally kill that hatchery.
Yeah, they do a stupid amount of damage. Nerchio, he might not actually be able to push in to kill. The thing is, the locusts will time out, right? The roach is already almost taken care of. So it's now about a minute before he has to worry about it. This is where that +1 armor comes in. He can't, the drone pull does nothing.
Yeah, nah, that's too impressive. Medevac barely gets out, even though there was a attempt at focus firing from those queens. And okay, finally the locusts timed out. The Mystic Terrans are going to time out as well. And what was the end result? I mean, KeeN still has 4 bases almost, with that 4th CC finishing up. Banshee comes out and kills the Infestors. Now going to start targeting over those swarm hosts.
Yeah, locusts are, of course, coming out again. He's going to catch these with the Thors, though. Oh, thing is, KeeN's taking a lot of damage to this too, right? Like it's hype to look at like picking up the main base of Nerchio, but KeeN lost so many SCVs. He lost most of his defending army. He's not exactly in a phenomenal spot himself, but both players are reeling off the damage they did to each other.
Yeah, and you know that 4th base still isn't done. It might just be canceled here. Not just a new base, but also helping to remake the SCVs, which I guess he already kind of did. 53 is not that bad, but not, or no, yeah, it was canceled. I thought I just saw it as he panned away, but all right. That kind of sucks, but still has that main to lift up. Nerchio trying to get to a Spire now to help deal with these Thors, but they're coming along. They're looking to snipe, basically. I mean, I guess they can swipe Swarm Host, right?
They could technically, but you're also not really going to have Spire deal with the Thors, so to speak. Thors are here to deal with units that come from the Spire.
But at least they won't have an escape path.
Yeah, they'll take out the medevacs, and that's going to be the most important factor here. But as the army comes in, the Locusts were staggered, so he does have a second round of them ready to fight. I think KeeN was really hoping Nerchio would blow, excuse me, rephrasing here, but blew his load on that first attack. Thors are still in the medevacs, though. He's really got to get those out and fighting. Stormhost get targeted down on the backside as well.
Nerchio doesn't have such a bad army supply, but he is getting pushed back here, and the micro with the medevacs is just, it's really hurting. Orgasm for KeeN fans.
Yeah, Nerchio's making a lot more roaches right now, and I don't know how I feel about this. I really like the fact that they have burrow and tunneling claws. I think it gives them far more utility than normal roaches would, but still, it's roaches versus things like Thors and tanks.
Yeah, and just like not quite an overwhelming amount either. The Swarm Host, the burrow.
Well, they also moved right into the range of the tanks. They could have stayed safely back, but KeeN loses his army, but he focus fires almost all the Swarm Hosts in the process. Yeah,
I mean, that was a good concave, and while it wasn't like a super maxed out Zerg army, it was enough. He already picked up one. Why isn't he picking up more? He's actually rallying forward here. He's like really quick. He's actually just tapping out. GG.
Okay, so right there at the very end, I know this guy's caught in the minimap. KeeN scanned all the extra bases, and I think there was a moment of hesitation where he thought those scans were going to be GG scans, but realized Nerchio didn't actually have that much, and then realized that by wasting all this time scanning and paying attention elsewhere, he lost his army. Like, the scans, it's a weird paradox. The scans, I feel, were his downfall at the very end.
I mean, he was, anytime you see, I think, a rallying mech player like that, like, they do feel a little, like, all in. That cancel on the 4th base, or kill, actually, didn't catch to see which one it was. Might have also been a big determining factor.
Well, folks, we're going to go to, I guess, a commercial break while we set up the next series. So, a very good first set, to say the least. I'm excited to see what Optimus and Snoot have in store for us, because they do have, perhaps not a personal rivalry, but at least on BaseTradeTV, a weird back-and-forth rivalry. I guess Songbird can talk more about that when we get back. But we'll see you guys in a few while we get vetoes sorted with another TVZ coming up next.